I would now like to call upon Geeta Rao to speak. Geeta Rao is a writer and influencer. She was a creative director at Ogilvy and a former beauty and wellness director at Vogue India. She is someone who's very near and dear to me. With that, handing it over to Geeta Rao.
Thank you, Vandana, and thank you, Rohit. Many congratulations on this book launch. And it was wonderful to see so many people holding up the book in the initial slides. So I'm assuming it's already a bestseller. It's already out there in the market. So many fans for the book. So congratulations. I'm one of the fortunate ones who had a sneak preview of the book. And I can assure you it achieves a very difficult task. It makes you think. And we know how difficult it is to think when it comes to yourself and when it comes to self-examination. And what Rohit does is pushes you through a series of sequential questions, of giving you examples, giving you anecdotes. He makes you think through your own state and answer questions as you go along. So what he does is he's taking you out of your comfort zone and pushing you gently into your Goldilocks zone. That space, as we talked and as we heard earlier, that space which is just right, like Goldilocks' porridge. It's not too hot, it's not too cold. Everything is perfectly balanced. So this is really one of the things in the book. The other thing that I found great in the book is the personal anecdotes. They bring in so much warmth into the book. And as we all know, things in the abstract work, but we forget about them. But when there are personal examples from your personal life, from your personal family stories, things you want to share, your reader is invited into your world. And there's a wonderful story, of course. I mean, for me, it was wonderful because it's about our grandfather. Wonderful story. It talks about Gandhiji, since lots of people mention Gandhiji. It's about our grandfather finding his purpose and choosing to go to jail, choosing to follow Gandhiji rather than finish his medical education and have a career, a great and lucrative career in medicine. But he found his purpose. And finding your purpose sometimes means sacrificing what is the immediate benefit, but living your life on your own terms. There's another wonderful example from the book. I mean, I love the example about Rohit giving his own story, his son learning to swim, and Rohit and his wife Preeti realizing that they'd reached this age in life where they'd never learned to swim. They thought they were too old, but because their son had learned, they enrolled and learned to swim along with their son. It's a wonderful illustration for everyone, an inspiration that we're never too old to learn a new skill. Whatever happens, never hesitate to learn a new skill. There are lots of questions and there are lots of statements that Rohit makes in the book that challenge you. So for example, he asks you to describe your state of life. And I'm going to read out 3 of the states and you can answer those for yourself mentally or you can put them down. Which state describes you best? 1, you are dissatisfied with your life and you're looking for motivation. That is what many of us are going through, especially in these times. You're superficially happy with your life and are looking for a strong reason to make the best of it. So as we know, surface happiness isn't enough. There's always subliminal discontent and we need to know how to deal with it. You have no answers and you're desperate to find answers because you have so many questions. So ask yourselves this. Which of these 3 states, as we speak right now, describes yourself? And you may find the answers waiting for you in the Goldilocks zone. There are many other questions. As I said, Rohit doesn't make it easy. You have to do the hard work. You've got to keep answering the questions he poses. So it's how do I currently earn and love what I'm doing? How do I combine what I love with earning a great salary? And it's always a question that bothers us. We often have to make a sacrifice of one for the other. How do I get up every morning energized? Why am I doing what I'm doing? What is my true calling? Now, some of these are existential questions, but they all need to be answered. They all need to be addressed. They all need to be answered. And the sooner we start answering them, the better it will be for all of us as we put out our roadmap into life. Eckhart Tolle, many of you may have heard him. I admire him a great deal. He's written a very famous book called The Power of Now, says, don't remain inactive due to fear of failure. And this is what happens to us. Sometimes we don't want to live our best life. Sometimes we are scared to find our passion because we fear that there may be failure along the way and we settle for mediocrity. But unless we try, we won't know. Until we find the skills, like Rohit found the ability to swim at a late age in life, because he wasn't afraid of failure. He may never have learned. He may have been too scared. He might have found the water wasn't for him, but he did it. So how do we look at these skills? How do we practice whatever it is we set out without fearing failure, without fearing that it didn't work out? You know, that future failure starts affecting the now of our lives. And Dr. Batra, who you just heard, has written a very interesting foreword to the book. And he says, you cannot change the past, but you can take a step and plan for the future. But most importantly, you've got to implement the plan. There's no point having these great plans. We all know that from the corporate world. Fantastic boardroom discussions, fantastic corporate discussions. Then there's no budget. The client rejects your campaign. All kinds of things happen. The government policies change, and that's the end of your plan. So really, the implementation is that final touch, and we've got to do it. And again, Rohit has several strategies which help you get there. Passion, principles, and purpose. Now, these are big words. These are loaded words. These are powerful words. And sometimes these are scary words. But they're all there. And we've got to confront these words in our life. But to them, we have to add two more words. And those two words are strategy and skills. If we don't have those two words, it won't happen. That whole paradigm we're looking to change and enter our Goldilocks zone won't happen. And that's what Rohit has done. There are 5 dedicated chapters in the book, sequential questions, answers, worksheets, and summations, backed by anecdotes, backed by very warm personal stories. So at each stage, you're led into the next one and the next one and the next one. So a great book. I urge all of you to get your copies and read it. Rohit guides you, very gently, but very firmly, let me say. It takes you through the book and helps you get into finding your Goldilocks zone finally. So I wish all of you all the very best. I hope you all find your passion and you find your purpose. And Rohit, may your book be an outstanding success. Thank you very much.
Wow. Wonderful. Thank you so much.